Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to be talking about 342 with Kess. And we're probably going to make this quick, because as it sits now, I should have already left for work. I am actually recording this morning. As soon as I get done recording, I'm going to upload it, so this is as close to live as I can do. Anyway, Kess lends herself to, a certain spell deck. Obviously, she's got a strong Is It lean in her with the instant and sorcery. You get to play one a turn. And the very first thing I thought of, I'll just be honest with you, I I read her, of course this was last year's Commander, and I said, you know what? The cards I want to be playing from my graveyard are taking extra turn cards. Yeah, that's kind of degenerate. There's a whole bunch of them, but as it turns out, I don't have a whole bunch of them. So that's what I really wanted to do. So we'll start from there. Of course, Time Walk, Walk the Eons, Part the Water Veil, Temporal Trespass, and then, of course, Dominara gave us Karn's Temporal Sundering. So I was like, well, that's all fine and good, but that's not enough to make a deck. And I know she lends herself to being like a Storm Commander, and I was like, I want to try to see if I can build off of this take an extra turn thing. Of course, I put Cast Through Time in, because, if I'm already playing that many take an extra turn spells, I might as well get double use out of them. Sunbird's Invocation. I actually just cast this for the first time about 3 days ago, and it's decent. It's better than I thought it would be. Secrets of the Dead is probably an open slot for another take an extra turn card. There's a bunch of them I hadn't put in. And then Mirror Sheen rounds out the enchantments. Because I'm trying to pick the ones. See, there's a fine line between take the extra turn spells. Some of them, like Time Warp, say target, and then some of them don't. Some of them just say take an extra turn. So, as much as I was like, well, what are some other big, flashy spells that I would love to copy? And the very first, or play over and over again. And I was like, well, it don't get any bigger and flashier than Cruel Ultimatum. It's just, I would say I don't think I've ever cast it twice in the same game and lost, but you know what? I don't know that I've ever cast it once in the same game and lost. Had it resolve. So it's a really big deal. Of course, Latent Thievery is kind of a big, decent Rider Replication. Pretty decent. Now, I guess let's look at some of the ramp, because obviously I'm showing you a whole bunch of high mana cards, because this card costs 9. I don't care what it says. Rider Replication costs 9. So we'll look at just some good old-fashioned color fixing. Now it also, of course, doubles as mana ramp. It's a lot of it is the standard suite of signets and cluestones and junk like that. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I really like this. I don't know how many cards actually make a player add a mana. It's kind of neat. I love the Star Compass, because, you don't see many shiny ones. Y'all know I'm part raccoon. Gotta have the Pyromancer's Goggles, because, this is kind of where it sped off into, well, I can cast it twice. Once from the hand, once from the yard. But what about doubling it as I cast it? And, of course, Jeweled Amulet, also known as Poor Man's Mox. Now, let's see. Oh, yeah. Doubling things. So, we got this cool new card, Double Cast, that I love it. There aren't many cards in the game of Magic that you're like, what does that do? It's called Double Cast. And I have Reverberate, Increasing Vengeance. Those are my doublers. I'm sorry. It's the lightning round. Who's in the lightning round? me. It's me, me, you, me, Griff, me, then me again, then me, me, you. Yeah, love me some red versus blue. So that's it for my copying. Now, here, let's look at our sweet, sweet 7 creatures. Now, obviously, if we're playing a lot of big mana stuff, I'm going to be running Jorah. She's in the colors. For some reason, people don't tend to kill her until you've got stuff suspended. So at that point, she can die. Now, Gutter Snipe, incidental damage. I still have a lot of room left in the deck, so this is kind of where I went. I was like, oh. Electromancer, of course, making everything cheaper. Knuckle V is going to get them back. Galvanoff, because, you know, it'd be cool to play it the first time for the free. Djinn Illuminatus. Also, I mean, Replicate. It's decent on some cards. I mean, how many times are you going to replicate a whatever big mana spell? And, of course, Tolerant. Now, I will document my spiral into the dark side. That's where I was at. And I was like, well, I'm already playing with Gutter Snipe. And spells cost cheaper. And I was like, dang it. Here I go. I'm going down into Storm. So I was like, well, if I'm going to do Storm, I've got to have some rituals. So obviously I've got our Cinnamon Spirit Guide, and Dark Ritual, Pyretic Ritual, Cabal, Seething Song, and of course, last but not least, a really pretty Mana Geyser. And I'm like, well, okay, so Storm is what we're doing. Yeah, okay. Frantic Searching, Brainstorm's going to draw me some cards. Mystical Tutor is probably going to set up something, as well as Factor Fiction. You know, it feels weird not running a Lightning Bolt. Just because for years, you know, before we had Commander, Lightning Bolt still is a staple. So of course I'm running the Suspend Bolt. Relearn's going to get something back. We're going to do a little bit of card searching with Diabolic Vision. I know the other one from Alliances is better, but this is the one I have. Telling Time. Windfall. Windfall's pretty decent. I kind of like it. Of course, Ponder. Going through some card draw. Not really card draw, but card recursion. And of course, at the end of this Storm Rainbow is Mind's Desire. Because why not? I think I only have one card that you really don't want to hit with Mind's Desire, and that is, of course, Epic Experiment. Because, you know, X equals 0 and all. Do have a little bit of control-y aspect here. Now, Diabolic Tutor and Increasing Ambition are going to go find our pieces that we need. Acquire, to be honest with you, this is a spot. I like it. It's fun as hell to copy. I mean, it really is. But you can't really depend on what your opponents are playing. Like, yeah, you're pretty sure there's a better than 50-50 chance that they're going to be playing a Soul Ring or some kind of artifact. Counterspell and Negate are going to help keep things safe. How did I miss that? Firemind's Foresight is a decent card for this deck since we are kind of serving 2 masters. It's the big mana flashy spell, and it also helps enable the Storm, because this is going to get me Seething Song, Cabal Ritual, and Dark Ritual. Pretty sweet. And our last 3 cards are, of course, Creature Mass Removal, and I consider the Aether Gale Mass Removal. Crux of Fate and Blasphemous Act is it. I want to go back to Aether Gale. fingers are too wide to get in there. So I realize I'm hurting for time right now, but I want to talk about Cyclonic Rift. I am not playing the Cyclonic Rift in this deck. I don't have any more. The 5 or 6, y'all know better than I do how many I have. They've all been shown to you in decks. I'm honestly thinking about going back and taking them out because I just, it's a really good card. But I think two things. Number one, there's a lot of talk in EDH about the social contract, and some things are okay in some places, but universally things like destroying all lands are, frowned upon. And it seems to be that every time a Cyclonic Rift is cast, first off, it costs 7, not 2. It only costs 2 to tutor it up in your hand for the things that care about a 2-drop. But anyway, outside of that, it costs 7. And it is such a... tell you what, the next time somebody overloads a Rift, look around the table. It is not a... and yes, that's one person surging out in advantage in front of the others. And you know what? That happens sometimes. But to have it's really, really close to 7 mana, I win the game. I mean, it's really close. Tell me what you think about Cyclonic Rift. I don't know. I'm on the fence. I kind of want to take them out and, liquidate them now while they're worth something, because what both makes me happy and scares me is that they're at like $21 right now, and if they ban them, they're going to go down to $1, absolute buck, and that's a whole lot of value lost. So about getting rid of them now while they're, I don't know if Sheldon and them are if they have like a watch list or anything. But anyway, I've rambled enough. I got to get to work. I appreciate you watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.